y'all. Welcome to the Honest to Goodness podcast,
where we give you our honest opinions
on good entertainment. I'm Morgan.
I'm Kerri.
I'm Nicole.
And without further ado,
here's today's episode.
We hope you enjoy.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Honest to Goodness podcast, where we give you our honest opinion on good entertainment. I'm your co-host Morgan with my other co-hosts Nicole and Kerri, and we obviously have a very special guest on the screen. Hey Jax!
It's so good to see you guys. This has been a long time coming. I've been observing you and haven't chatted with you in a while, so it's good to actually get to talk to you and have you talk back.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Actually having conversations instead of little quick notes on lives.
Yeah.
Yes. So obviously for all of you guys, a lot of you guys will probably know Jax from her podcast that she had with Hallmark, the Bubbly Sesh, which we missed so very much because like you guys were such a big highlight for us.
Oh, thank you.
And you've done a few movies now for Hallmark, which is incredible. We know the engagement plot. I mean, come on. That movie was amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
You guys know, as fellow Hardys, I mean, Brian Bird and his team, they're so great. So it was a lot of fun to do the engagement plot, and Trevor Donovan and Rachel Boston are just like the sweetest, most talented people. So it was a blast.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
So
what's your favorite? What's kind of your favorite memory moment, whatever, from working on that set? Or how did you even get involved in it for the first? We're just gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
I love that. How'd you get involved?
I went to when I saw that they were filming a second season of When Hope Calls, I emailed Brad Kervoy, who is the head of MPCA, Motion Picture Association of America. Motion Picture Corporation of America. And I knew Brad from a few things when I was at Hallmark. And I said, oh, hey, I really want to do some coverage on set of When Hope Calls, thinking I wasn't going to hear anything back. And he was like, okay, cool. Come to Canada in like 4 days. So I did some behind the scenes coverage for that. And that was really fun. And when I was on set, Brian Bird and Patty Bird were also on set. And he said, I'm doing a movie and you remind me of one of the characters. Why don't you audition for it? And then I did. And the script was really great. Taylor Bird wrote it based on Krista Phillips' novel. And it was really, really great. And then I got the part and went out to Colorado like a couple weeks later.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So fun.
I mean, when Brian Bird tells you to audition for a movie, you don't second guess it. You do.
Oh,
it.
no.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
So what was it like being on that set, knowing the pivotal scene of having Abigail dream of Jack? Like, were you able to actually see that? So
no, here's the fun thing. So when I flew in, I knew that they had filmed that big pivotal scene the night before. And when I got picked up from the airport, they had sent a really nice guy to pick me up. And he was like, yeah, I picked up a guy yesterday morning. Really nice guy, really good looking guy. His name is what's his name? And he kept trying to say, and I was like, was it Daniel listening? And he was like, yeah. He was like, tell me everything. And he said he was the nicest guy. They chatted the whole time. It was really, really sweet. But I didn't get to see the scene. I think the set was pretty locked down when they filmed that.
Yeah.
I
imagine, because that's like a big.
Yeah, I mean, like we were way off the chart, obviously, because we thought, oh my God, Jack is finally coming back. But obviously not. But it was still really, that scene was obviously like beautiful, perfect way to like wrap that up in a bow.
I think it was needed. I think it was very needed.
Because everyone still kind of guessed like, oh, but we never saw the body. We never, saw it happen. It kind of technically happened off screen. So people always tend to like second guess it like they've done it before. So I mean,
I think that closure was much needed for all of us Hardys.
Oh yeah,
right,
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you auditioned and everything, did you do it over, like, did you do a self-tape or did you actually, okay.
It was a self-tape, and my mom was in town, and my mom, when I was little, would always help me with all of my auditions. And I wasn't a professional kid actor, but like I did community theater, I did high school theater, I did theater camp. So she was always the one helping me with my auditions. So this was like a really sweet thing to have her help me with this audition, and she was my reader, and she gave me notes.
Like a true mom does.
Yep. Moms are gonna mom. And I mean, she was doing something right, because she's been coaching me since I was like 6 years old. And then I ended up getting this part. And it was the first thing I had booked in a while. And I was like, maybe my mom should coach me on all my auditions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, that is awesome. So what's kind of a favorite memory moment? Like, was this the first time you had met any of these people, or did you already know like Rachel and Trevor?
So I had done Love, Fallen Order with Trevor. So I knew him, and I knew him from Christmas Con and stuff. And actually for Love, Fallen Order, we had spent a decent amount of time on set just because we were doing interviews and stuff too. So I knew him, and I really liked him and thought he was a really sweet guy. Rachel, I knew through Christmas Con, and we had been joking around since like 2019 and being like, oh, we want to play sisters. So then when I found out she was doing this, I was like, okay, we're not sisters, but we're best friends. So one step closer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I actually found out that, so Trevor was already attached to the project when I got cast, and they were looking for the leading lady. And I didn't know who they were looking at or who they cast, but because, I mean, the three of you know, and we can all relate, we're all fangirls. I saw that Trevor commented on one of Rachel's photos, "See you soon." And I lost my mind, and I DM'd her, and I was like, are you playing Hannah Knight? And she was like, yes. I'm like, I'm in it too. So that's how we were so excited. And then, yeah, it was just really, really fun to have that moment.
That's awesome.
Where I was like, oh my goodness, you're in this movie too. I'll see you in a week.
That is so
awesome.
cute. I love that. Oh my
Love
gosh.
it. That is so cool.
Well, you guys know from reading the comments, you can find lots of info.
Oh yeah,
You really can. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because you know they're supposed to be so tight-lipped about this stuff, but they're not. But
Yeah.
I feel like with Hallmark, you don't really get in trouble because like it's like if anything,
Yeah.
you're doing more publicity for the movie.
That's exactly.
Well, I mean, that's what happened when Andrew jumped on our live and he said he was on set, and I was like, "What are you filming?" And he's like,
He grinned real big. He's like, I can't say.
You know,
And
yeah,
like,
he's like, I
literally-
can't really say. I was like, I think I know. I was like, if your Insta story the other day is any indication, I think I know it. He's like, well, I'm not allowed to say, but yeah,
But
you know.
yeah, you know.
He's like, I put it together. So get me on a Hallmark movie and mystery right now, because I know where you are.
Right?
Exactly. That like whenever he posted that Insta story, I'm like, wait, those names look way too familiar. What is going on here, Andrew Walker? Like you cannot. That is like a full on like special document that you're putting on your Instagram story.
I don't think they realize all the time how closely all of us look at things.
That's true.
No, yeah,
I don't think they
definitely
do
not.
either. But I mean,
Yeah.
you don't see that many characters' names being Goldie.
This is true. This
I
is
mean,
true.
she's like the first person that popped in my head. But
also that's a way that he can say what he's doing without
That's
saying what
true.
he's doing, because
that's
he
Yeah.
and it
has not
wasn't like any
released
like
any
juicy
information.
lines or anything like that. It was just like a simple like, I'll see you later
Yeah.
kind of. So
Yeah.
I mean, he saved the day with that. Hopefully he doesn't
I don't
get
think
in trouble.
they expect us to like hold our finger on the story and like dissect everything that is in it,
And
Like,
screenshot it for later.
right?
And then send it to
Like-
people and ask for their opinions. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
we're not in this
Exactly.
alone. Like, we're a detective agency.
Like everyone
Yeah.
knows, like everyone knows, like us women, we need to be like automatically like just announced as FBI agents because we can find some stuff out, y'all. Like
You-
that.
Jax, you should have seen some of like the group like messages or like the post about the vows we made, the Signed Sealed Delivered movie, but like while they were filming, we were doing some investigating. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, what kind of dress is Shane wearing? Like, what's the style of her wedding dress? Like,
I like the way you're like, we go deep. We go.
We do.
Like,
I tell you who will crack you up at the stuff she can find. Lydia.
Oh my gosh.
I
Lydia
swear
is a
that
pro.
girl. I swear that girl could find stuff that nobody is supposed to know.
Like she's got some sources under her belt,
You're like, who are your contacts on the inside?
right? Like, hello. Like she's our contact to get into the inside because she's like the little mole that's running around that nobody can see. And it's like, okay, we're good.
yeah,
And she loves it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
she's like the Shane McInerney of our group.
Pretty
Pretty
much.
much. Yeah.
It's pretty
much
so
is,
funny.
yes.
Because she'll like message us out of the blue stuff and we're just like, where did this come from?
Where did that?
Like almost
We're
like,
like, man, I
like, oh my
wish I could get
god.
in touch
It's
with
like,
so-and-so. And she's like, oh, give me a minute. And she'll come back with like their personal email or something. We're like, what?
Minute.
wait, didn't she help us find Kevin McGarry's agent?
I think so. I don't remember if it was
I think she's
her
the one who
or-
got us Kevin McGarry's agent.
I think so.
I love that. It's like
Yeah.
whatever way in.
Right?
Yeah, she's definitely our Shane McInerney.
So speaking of Kim McGarry, are he and Kayla in New York City right now? It looked like they were,
It looked like the subway. It looked like they were in the
Yeah.
subway.
and I
I
was
can't
like,
tell though.
it looks like the orange line. I was like, I'm going to work today and I'm taking the subway. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be eyes peeled. everywhere.
Okay, so you live in New York?
I do, yeah. And 3 days a week, I teach in a theater program in Harlem to kids who do not like
Aw,
theater.
That's
So
awesome.
they're really
Oh,
they're like, oh, Miss Jackie, we don't like theater, but then they warm up to it.
Oh,
So, yeah.
sweet.
I was downtown, which I love, but I was like, maybe I can see Kayla and Kevla, if my eyes.
Yes. Yes. If you do, you have to get a picture.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. And if you guys text me if you see that they post anything that I've missed as to their whereabouts, because I'm not above doing a friendly stalking.
Of course.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
You just have to tell him to get with his agent because
Yes,
like
yes.
we have been sending, like, not gonna lie, we have been sending
2
his
years.
agent for the
2
past
years.
2 years messages every single time something kind of comes up where they're like, we know, like we first texted him not long after we started our podcast because Kerri bought me a cameo from Kevin and she put in the little thing to mention the fact that we are starting a podcast. And he saw that my handle on Instagram was Team Nathan Grant. And so like he was like, oh, okay, a podcast about me. That's cool. I'll totally join. Like, and pretty much kind of hinted like, I'll send some sound bites. I'll check it out. Just, contact my agent and we'll have a go. So we took him seriously. We took him at his word, obviously. And we were like, so we've been messaging his agent for like 2 years. Like every single time a project starts getting announced, we're like, hey, we would love to interview him about this. Can you please send him our way?
By the way.
Yeah, I literally emailed him this morning and was like, hi, we know Kevin just wrapped filming season 10. We'd love to talk to him while he's in between projects. Come on. Although this time I did send links to the other interviews that we've done. So maybe that'll help. I don't know. But
Yeah, maybe they'll see that we're kind of more professional than we look. Don't know. But then again, I'm also kind of worried because like most of our interviews are still like 2 hours long, and he's probably like, "No way am I sending this to Kevin."
Hey, Andrew is the one that talked us through a 2-hour interview.
My gosh, I was literally looking at my phone during the interview, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're already
That's
like
it.
30 or 40 minutes over the time that he said that he needed us." And he was at home with like his kids and his wife, and we were like, oh my gosh, like how did we stop this interview and stuff? But he actually finally noticed that it'd been like 2 hours. He's like, okay, I've got to go because my wife and kids are in the house and she's like by herself and I need to go help wrangle those boys. So we
Oh
were
my
like,
goodness.
That seems very wonderfully on brand for him. And I just picture his
Yeah.
like he said that he was going to be done like 45 minutes ago. Where is
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
I think
No, I loved it though. I love the fact that, I mean, that's literally like the first interaction we had ever had with Andrew. And I love the fact that he leaves you feeling like you're best friends.
He's
Yeah.
a really kind person. Like
Yeah.
I remember the first time I met him, it was at TCA's in LA, and people were waiting for their cars to like it was at this really, really fancy house, like the
Wow.
fanciest house I've ever seen. And people were waiting for their cars for people to pull up their cars for them. And there was a big group of people, and then all of a sudden, like everyone starts trickling out. And it's like me and Shaw and like maybe one other person who I didn't know, and Andrew waiting for their cars. And people before that were not annoyed, but they're just like, I'm ready to go home. It's taking forever. Not Andrew Walker. He's there telling jokes. He doesn't care that he's the last car that's gonna go. No complaining, talking to everybody, putting everybody in a good mood. Even when people are like, oh, I'm tired, like my feet hurt, I just want to get home. No, not Andrew. Like a ray
that's
of
awesome. absolute
sunshine.
I think we can
Alright.
all agree with Tyler Hines that Andrew is a magical unicorn.
Yes.
He really is. Like he's so nice. And I think that's the
Yeah.
thing, like, I mean, I think everyone in our universe is very, very kind and nice. But like, Andrew reminds me of like the guys I went to high school with. Like he's not gotten the vibe of someone who like is too cool for school. Like it was funny when he came in studio to record the bubbly sesh with us, and he got lost coming off the subway, and Shaw had to call him and like walk him through it. And he came in and he was like sweating and he was like, I am so sorry. We're like, we're sorry. Are you okay? And then when he was leaving, he's like, oh no, I got to get to Brooklyn for a dinner. And we're like, we're going to tell you what train to get on. That's so cute. He's so nice.
That is so
He
awesome.
was like just out of sorts. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I actually have another friend that lives in New York City. Jacob Winter. He's an actress or an actor.
really?
Good grief. Sorry, I had a message come through at that point, so my brain like left. So if I ever come to New York City, I know a couple of people to get in touch with for some good tours and good advice. And
well, please, if you ever come, please hit me up, because I love it, and I love giving people recommendations. And I have a feeling that the kinds of things I like to do are probably the kinds of things you guys like to do. So
Probably, yeah.
We do
I
need to
think
make
so.
a plan. I would love to go to New York at least once in my life.
bucket list item for me, New York City at Christmas. I don't know why. I just want to do it.
I've never been at Christmas, but I have been twice. The second time was probably my favorite, because like the first time we didn't really do anything. We just walked around and shopped. But the second time it was on a school trip, and it was my junior year of high school, and we saw 3 Broadway plays. We went to Top of the Rock, of course. I think we went into Chinatown or Greenwich Village. I can't remember which one. Trying to remember what else. Those were the highlights. I cannot remember everything.
Shows? Good glory.
Yeah. We saw American Idiot, which is the music of Green Day, and then Anything Goes, which is the music of Cole Porter. And at that time, Laura Osnes was the lead in that. And I actually got to meet her, and like she signed my playbill and everything after the show.
I miss the stage tour days, because of course they are more due to COVID, and I miss those days because of course I was a stage tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww. And then we saw Arcadia.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Which is a 3-hour show. But funny story. One of our faculty chaperones literally fell asleep during the play. And then like when they were doing their bows and everything at the end of the show, she woke up literally at the end of the show, and she was just like
You gotta fake it till you make it. You gotta fake it till you make it.
And then me
That's my dad. Like, we gauge how good something is off of how well he can nap through it. If he can nap his way through it, it's a good movie.
And then me and one of my friends who were on the trip, we just like looked over at each other because we were like sitting next to each other and we just started cracking up.
Oh my gosh, you're like,
Oh
I've always wanted to go see a Broadway play. It's always been like a big bucket list of mine. Like
The one
I want to watch is definitely Waitress. I love that.
The one thing I regret though is I think the night we saw American Idiot, like we had gotten dinner before that, and I chose not to get New York pizza. I got spaghetti instead. I got spaghetti.
Nicole.
Nicole, that's like blasphemy.
yeah, you get a bagel and pizza to really do it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think it is confirmed that we need to have like a podcast tour, and we are going to do all of this stuff.
I will take you guys all around. We'll go see a Broadway show. We'll get New York pizza. We'll do all the Christmassy things if you come at Christmas. Although it is cold, of course, but like the summer's really nice too.
Yeah.
Like come whenever you want and we'll do a whole thing.
That would be fun.
Sounds good.
I would definitely want to come at Christmas, but then again, I'm a Southern girl. I don't do the cold very well.
I'm a Southern girl too, but I still want to do it. Actually, we all are.
we had like a mixture of a thunderstorm / ice storm the last night we were there. We were supposed to go see Wicked on the last night, but
Oh, Wicked would have been amazing.
yeah, we couldn't get tickets and there was a storm, so we had to stay in the hotel.
Oh man, I remember getting back to the movie because we do have this tendency to like get way off on stuff.
I love it.
It's fun though. Girl chat, we're fun.
That's right.
But getting back to the movie, I remember my impression from watching it is, okay, can I please be best friends with her? Like everybody needs you as their best friend.
Yeah.
Cheerleader, like girl in their corner. So where do we get applications for that?
Oh my gosh, guys, I need to come to New York. I'm your hype girl. I'm your BFF. It was really fun because I've had people say to me like, oh, don't you like want to be the leading lady? And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. I always like want to be like, I love acting, but I'm like playing someone's best friend is like my favorite thing. Like that's one of my favorite things to do in life is to be like a hype girl and a loyal friend. And so getting to do that is so much fun in real life. And then to do it on screen with someone who I care about, Rachel, so much. And it was funny because like we were all on set together, and especially when you're on location, like you spend more time together because everyone's not going home to their own places. And the guys would go out and like maybe go to a bar or something like that. But I don't drink, and Rachel doesn't really drink a lot, and she was pregnant. So we would have very cozy, quiet dinners like in her hotel room. And just like get to know each other, which was really great because like when I was doing Love Fall in Order, like we would all go out, a bunch of us together, which was really nice. But because of the circumstances of this one, Rachel and I got a lot more like concentrated girl time together. And I think it really allowed us to feel a lot closer and to, in a very short amount of time, because I mean, you guys know these movies film so quickly. It allowed us to have this sort of emotional intimacy that when we were on set, it was a lot easier to film everything.
Right.
I
think one of my favorite moments of yours was when she called you. Do you happen to remember your line from that?
It was something like, you chose me for your one available phone call.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What was fun about those FaceTime scenes is that very often, when you're filming those scenes, you won't have the other actor to act with. A lot of times with other things too. I mean, you guys know there are stand-ins and things, but Rachel, even though she was like number one in the call sheet and so busy, she stood there and did all of the opposite lines for me when I was recording my stuff, when usually it would be someone else on set just like reading the lines, which is fine, and I wouldn't expect that, but she did it for me, and she was like, oh, do you mind doing it for me? And I was like, oh my gosh, no, Rachel, I want to hang out with you as much as I can.
Like, you don't even have to ask, sweetheart.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Which it really makes it easier
Yeah.
to act those scenes then.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously we loved the engagement plot, loved seeing you in that, but you have another little cameo appearance anyway coming up on December the 4th. Tell us about that one.
Yes. So this is another movie that I got into just because like I asked.
Hey, the worst that can happen is you get told no. You never get anywhere if you don't ask and don't take chances. So go for it, girl.
Exactly.
I really wish that I had that vibe that like I could just be like, oh yeah, I got offered this thing, but like I have to tell the truth. So
that's fine. It kind of inspires people to be like, look, Jax did it and it worked. Ask.
Like, well, this is kind of funny because I'll give you guys the shortened version, but it wasn't just a one-time ask. So the way the whole thing started was that Anna White still is one of my favorite writers, but she was one of my favorite Hallmark writers. And that's how I knew her at the time. I loved a lot of her movies and we became friends online. Amanda Klutz, who I had followed her story online and was really inspired by her. And we have a lot of the same like theater friends in New York because she used to live here and she's done a lot of theater. And I followed her story with her now late husband, Nick Cordero. And I thought she was really inspiring. And I'd seen she posts on her stories that she was watching Hallmark movies. So I DM'd her and I said, hey, do you want to be on the Bubbly Sesh? She said, yes. Then she ended up telling me I have an idea for what she was thinking would be a Hallmark movie. And I said, oh my goodness, you have to meet my friend Anna White. I mean, at the time we were all online friends, but honestly, like online friends, you guys know it's everything.
Yeah.
So that's just the way we do it. So I said, you have to meet my friend. I connected them. And then Amanda's idea, Anna took and she wrote a really incredible script. So when the movie got greenlit, I was like, oh, hey, Anna, I really want to be in this movie. So she's like, okay, like, I'll see if I can do anything to make it happen. But then in the meantime, I found out that Brad Kervoy, who from MPCA, who was the one who had brought me to Canada for When Hope Calls, I found out that they were producing the movie. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do an attack from all sides. I'm going to email Brad and be like, hey, I'm really excited. I want to be in this movie. So Brad was a really, really great support for trying to get me in the movie. And it's difficult because it was being filmed in Canada and you can only have a few American actors in the movie. So it was a lot of hoops to jump through, but ultimately Anna ended up writing a little part for me, named the person Jackie, still had to audition. The team MPCA had to approve it, which I knew would be fine, but then CBS had to approve it, which I was nervous about, but then that was fine. And then like the whole Canadian government had to sign off on it. So it was a lot of it was a lot of hoops to jump through, but it was so much fun. And I was really excited to get to work with Paul Green because he's so funny and so just Paul really is such a jokester and makes you feel comfortable and not nervous at all. So I was really lucky that I got to do it. And I think the movie, I got to read a bunch of drafts of the script and I think it ended up in a really great spot. And I think everyone's really going to like it. I hope so.
What clips I have seen looked adorable.
It looks amazing. Yeah.
It's really, really cute. And this was Amanda had done a bunch of Broadway and had done like maybe a little bit of film before, but this was her first time leading a movie. And I mean, she was an incredible leader on set and just such an amazing actress and just like got it. Like Paul was going on and on about how she was one of his favorite leading ladies ever. And we know he's worked across like a bunch from a bunch of superstars, and they've become like best friends now. Like it's really sweet when you see how like what is being shown really matches. Like Rebecca Budig, who plays the best friend in this, like she is really, really kind too. When we rode to set together the day that I was filming, and they've all become like Anna and Rebecca and Paul and Amanda, they all live in LA. They've all become really good friends. They hang out all the time. So it's really nice when you make these relationships on set when they last. And it really shows on screen, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I love how with this movie, it's kind of become not like, at least in our circle, it's Jax's movie. It's not Paul Green's movie. It's Jax's movie.
It's like, so hilarious. But it's
Paul, you're out of the picture. This is Jack's moment.
Paul, get out. That means a lot. Like, honestly, this is the best community because I think it's really, really fun that we're all fans and we get it. You know what I mean? Like we have a community that I think people you don't understand until you're in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know whenever I was just first, because I didn't start really getting into like the social media aspect of the community until season 7, I think. Or towards the start of season 8, honestly, actually. That's when I created my Team Nathan account, and I was kind of doing research before I kind of dove into that community, obviously, which I do suggest to people. But I was like kind of noticing, like, you know, Nathan could obviously need more fan base. It seems really like everyone seems to be very supportive, and we all seem to have a lot of the same ideas and a lot of the same feelings as far as everything that was going on. And I was like, you know what? I really like to have my opinions heard. Obviously, I like to like talk about things. I like to even have that kind of stuff, even talk reciprocated, obviously. But the first thing that obviously impacted me was just how much everyone was so like supportive of not only the actors and actresses that are on the show outside of When Calls the Heart, like into their movies, into their other projects. And it's the community that's really
in their charity work and everything.
Yeah.
I think what is really impressive also is that the fandom, not only I think is the fandom really passionate, but smart, like knows what storylines would be good, know the things that don't make sense. You know, it's not just this without analyzing. It's like there's a deep love and respect for it, and because there is, you can also say things that you're like, well, I don't love that, and that's
yeah, for sure. I think and the name of this movie coming out on December the 4th is Fit for Christmas. Am I correct?
Fit for Christmas. Yeah. Originally, they were kicking around. Amanda was like, oh, like she's getting him fit for Christmas. So it's like unfit for Christmas. But they were like, no, we need like a positive title.
Yeah.
So tried to change the title a couple of times, but I think Fit for Christmas is really the perfect title for it. And Amanda's really a fitness instructor, and I took her class in New York, and I was like, my face was beat red. I was sweating. I could barely keep up. But she makes it fun. You know, it was really fun. So
that is awesome. Well, I don't know if you saw that I had posted that I had finally finished that first draft of a script.
Oh my gosh. No, I want to see this. This is amazing.
Yes. This is actually for Andrew. When we interviewed him in May, he was talking about like his juice business and stuff. And I was like, you realize this is a Hallmark movie, right? And he was like, well, I actually pitched them the idea like 3 years ago, and it wasn't what they were looking for. And he kind of told us what he had pitched. And we were like, well, what if you did this instead of this? And maybe if this.
We were literally giving him ideas to put
workshopping.
Into it. Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like boom, 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 you know, and he was like, tell you what, give me a title and a log line and I'll look at it, you know? So we were like, okay. So we came up with that like that night, I think.
Yeah.
We already had the title, we already had the log line, we already had, you know, whatever, tagline, you know, and I was like, okay. I took it a step further. He never asked for this. I took it a step further and went, I'm writing a script. And so I finished the first draft. These two have read it. We've done together.
Should I say the line? Should I say the line?
Go
No,
for it.
No.
Oh man, there's a line that we die laughing every time that we try to do it, and it's really not it isn't a funny line, like it's not meant to be, but it is. It's hilarious.
I cannot remember it like every single word. I can remember like the first part and like the last, like the first sentence and the last part.
Word.
Get in touch with your inner being. Namaste.
Yes. Yes. But she I know. But
That today when I'm about to teach my kids because they require patience. So I'm going to be
yes.
your inner being.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But like we literally spent like 2 hours, just like all of us took like every other line, we all just like kind of acted it out just to make sure it like flowed together and make sure it kind of made sense. We changed a few lines, but it wasn't even that major. It was just like a rewording or using a different word instead of this word. And it was so good. I'm like so proud of her.
Can I read it?
Yeah, I have it out to a couple of filmmaking friends right now, and let me hear back from them, and then I'll see what we can do there. But or I guess I could go ahead and send you the unedited version to get your opinion on that, because I'll have to like put everybody's opinions in there. But anyway,
Read it. I'm excited. That's awesome.
but when we first started talking about this, obviously you start casting it in your head. Obviously, Andrew, leading man, is his story. You're like loosely based off of his story. You know,
I mean, this is pretty much his story. So I mean, I feel like you couldn't cast anybody else for his story.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so we came up with Andrew for the leading man. Nicole, how did you say you pronounce the actress's name?
Oh, Amelia Ullerup.
Yeah.
It's so funny. As soon as you were like, how do you pronounce the name? I was like, it's definitely her, but I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. So that's who we came up with as the leading lady. But then she's not in it super much, but there is kind of a best friend part in it that we initially were saying Charlotte Hegley. We would love to see her in this. But when we were reading through it the other night, I just stopped and I went,
Jacks.
This is 100% Jacks.
Well, I would
like
love
kind
to.
of spoiler alert for the script, but how do you feel about playing a pregnant lady?
Totally fine. Totally fine. I'm definitely not, but I'm happy to. I would love for the opportunity to wear like a little belly.
It's like just at the end.
You're gonna be so cute.
I know. It really would. And she is
so
like
fun.
very, very bubbly, very sarcastic in a lot of ways. Just like she is that hot girl. She's the one that, you know, is like what's the line? Something about you haven't been on a date in how long? It's like long enough that that it doesn't have to be stated how long it's been. You know? And then when she actually does get a date with this like rich guy, she's like,
oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you.
Hey, we're going over here. There's like the juice stand in the yoga studio, and she's like, okay, come on, we're gonna go get some juice to celebrate. So they're standing in line waiting, and she's like, man, this is really taking off. And she's like, yeah, it seems to be pretty popular. And the friend's like, you know, it doesn't hurt that the guy behind the counter is really cute and single. He is single, right? She's like, I don't know, but it doesn't matter because I'm going out with this guy tonight. Yes, all right. Like, you know.
That juice is really good. The little
It is.
He hasn't sent ours yet because we mentioned it in the podcast. We're like, we would love some. He's like, I'm gonna send you some, and he still has it.
Yeah.
What?
No, he still hasn't.
He sent ours. He sent mine and Hannah's and Kristen's in like a week.
In fairness, he kind of got distracted because he realized we had been talking for 2 hours. Well, he had been talking for 2 hours.
That's understandable.
He kind of got off in a hurry, so we didn't really wrap it up in the way that, you know,
he kind of wrapped it up for us. We actually didn't even wrap up the podcast episode with him on the screen. We ended up having to do that after he left.
That's
so
understandable.
Literally, the end of the podcast is him leaving and us going,
like, did that just happen?
That's understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah,
In
like I
fact,
said, when we were
10
reading that, I
minutes
was like,
later,
yeah.
I think 10 minutes later, he was like, I think his wife put on Instagram, like them all sitting down for dinner and stuff like that. And we were like, oh my God.
They were
they're
way
waiting to have dinner.
Andrew. They were.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
oh my God, we kept them from having dinner.
But yeah, they're really good. I think the one with the watermelon is my favorite. I can't remember the name of that one.
That's my favorite too. I did not get sent to, much like the way I like ask to be in every movie. I was like, I'll just order this too.
There you
But
go.
it's
Well,
I
it's
did
not
that
around
too.
for us because, like, he is saying that he would love to have some stuff more down south because there is none.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that he is hoping to get some in Georgia?
I think
I
so.
don't-
In
I think
the
he said. I think
Sun
he said
Belt.
that.
The Sun Belt.
Yeah,
That'd
but
be nice.
it hasn't happened yet. But I mean, he's been from one movie to another movie. Like, he's on a
Yeah.
movie set right now. Like, poor thing is missing Thanksgiving because he's working. So I mean, we give him a
Yeah.
pass on not getting us
Yeah.
our juice this one time.
This
I
one
love
time.
it though.
One
I
time.
love it though.
Let it slide.
But yeah, if I send you that script, would you have time to read it and get back to me on it and give me your opinion on it?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm actually taking a very chill weekend. So I can definitely. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Someone's drilling next door. We can continue.
Can't hear it.
We can't hear it down
Oh,
here.
good.
so-
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would love to read it, and I'm so excited. Congrats on doing it. Writing that is a huge accomplishment.
There were
Yeah.
so many times. I literally called Morgan, like I was at 90 something pages, and I literally called her and I'm like, I'm about to start cussing. I'm about to start smashing stuff. And anybody that knows me knows I do not cuss unless I have had it. Like I will use slang all the time, but I do not cuss unless I have like
Oh my
just
goodness.
absolutely passed my breaking point.
I
you know?
like.
I pretty much had to do what I do on our lives whenever she starts getting tickled and like was laughing nonstop and everything and she can't breathe. I'm like, you've got to breathe, Kerri. You got to breathe through it. You gotta breathe through it.
But
You got it.
literally everything was going wrong at that point. Like I was getting everything had been going so good, and people don't realize. People are always like, just take that 15 minutes in between stuff. I'm like, that does not work for me. I wish it did, but it takes so much. I can't just sit down and write. It's terrible. Like literally, it's terrible. And I know I can write. I'm not the best writer in the world, but I know I can write. And I'm like, so everything had been going so good, and all of a sudden, I'm getting my grandmother coming in my room. Which, in her defense, she was bringing in clean laundry. She had washed my towels. But anyway,
You can let that
go.
go.
It was still an interruption, and then Greg Shell texted me because he has, he's been on set with the Mayberry Man stuff for days, so he's hardly talked to me. So he's texting me stuff, and I'm thinking I'm writing, leave me alone. And then I've got other people texting me. And then I DoorDashed me some food, only to realize I delivered it to my house and not my grandmother's house. So I paid $60 for supper that night. I'm just saying, because I had to order it twice.
Oh my gosh.
Well, at least you paid your dad.
Yeah, it was like everything that could have gone wrong in that moment was going wrong. And I was just like, and I was getting out of that headspace, and I'm like, I really want to finish this first draft before we talk to Andrew again, which hopefully will be soon. He's saying, let's do it, about talking about 3 Wise Men and a Baby. So it's like, hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. And I'm like, I really want to have this first draft, at least the first draft, done before we talk to him. So I'm like really trying to get it done. And so I'm calling Morgan, and I'm like, I'm about in tears. Like I can barely talk to her at the time.
So I told her, okay, how about, since you're kind of getting out of it, what kind of helped me whenever I was kind of in a kick of writing, I told her, I said, sometimes whenever I got into that rough place, I would just go back to the very beginning of what I was writing, like from the very beginning of the start of the book or whatever it was that I was writing. I just kept reading it over and over until I could see like what it was in my head that I went on the page. Mm-hmm. And so I read through it with her. And then we got Nicole joined in on it. And that night she finished it, like finished the whole script. And
That's awesome.
It's not correct. It's not correctly formatted yet. So I don't know if once it's correctly formatted, if it'll need some taken out or some put in. I would rather leave it a little long, and then on the off chance it actually does get picked up, they can take out whatever they want to.
You can cut stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, he literally gave us a rundown. He's like, okay, there are 120-page scripts there, and this was like before we even started talking about doing this. He was like, all right, it's 120-page script. Around page 40 to 45 is when you're going to start seeing, kind of the romantic interest develop. By page 90 something, everything's going to fall apart. By about page 112, 115, they're back together, and whatever. So I mean, we literally had the breakdown
through the whole because it's a whole formula to write these, and I think that
It is
starting to do it. Like I was talking to Anna White about it, who wrote Fit for Christmas and a bunch of the Hallmark stuff, and she wouldn't be a TV writer, and she was PAing on a bunch of shows. And then her friend's mom had a Hallmark movie on, and she was watching it, and she's like, I think I can figure this out. So she wrote like a spec script and figured out the formula, and it's just like refining it and knowing where to hit all those beats. And it's like you guys already intuitively know that because of watching so many.
Yeah. I mean, whenever we were watching, like, obviously season 8 and stuff, like, obviously we're Team Nathan over here, and we were just like, like, this is completely, like, he's the underdog. This is like the whole Hallmark formula. Like, he's the underdog. He's the one that's going to get it. It's okay. Whatever. But that's what we always kind of talked about, was like, this is the Hallmark formula. This is how things always go with Hallmark. This is their trademark. This is like how you differentiate them from Lifetime and all of these other production teams, like production. And so it's like, but this is like her first ever script. This is the first time she's ever written a script.
That's awesome.
So good.
It is. My dad and I are writing a Hallmark movie too.
You guys are? Oh my gosh, what's it about? Or don't you want to say it?
I'll say it when we get off here.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. And check your email, Jax.
Good, because I have a very long train ride to get to my kids today, so I'll be able to start it already on the train.
There you go. There you
It would be the perfect thing to read.
Yeah, I hope you'll like it. I think I'm honestly just really glad I was actually able to finish it, because like I said, there were so many times I struggle with a lot of self-confidence issues, even though I know I can do stuff. It's like, I don't know if I get in my own head, or I don't know. I think it's a fear of the unknown or something. I don't know how else to describe that. But like Morgan had several times throughout it, she's like, if you need some help, let me know. And I'm like, I appreciate it, but I want to finish this. I want to know, even if it's not good, I can get through this script and I can finish it. And so.
Well, I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I have some self-confidence issues too, and like
I feel like all of us have some type of there's like an area in our lives, or even just probably a lot of them are all probably the same in a way too.
Like, even for example, at Rama Drama, I was like freaking out at karaoke night, because I know, I sang with Kristen, and I was like, before I got on stage, I was like, oh my gosh, is this actually happening? Like, am I actually getting this?
When I sang the national anthem at an event for my congressman recently, and I've known this family since I was little. So, I mean, it's like, in a way, it's like, oh, no big deal, it's just them. And then it's like, well, actually he is a congressman, so it is a little bit of a big deal, but when you've known him forever, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But I'm literally getting ready to go up there, and I'm like, what the heck are the words to the national anthem? Do not do this to me. Like,
I was so nervous I was going to get up there and forget the words, but luckily they had the words on the screen.
Yeah.
You're like, think of this.
It was fun, but it was definitely very nerve-wracking.
I mean, it wouldn't be karaoke without the
Thank you. Thank you.
That's true. But this is true.
But I was just thinking, you don't get this chance.
Yeah.
You have to
every day. So
you gotta throw caution to the wind when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with completing a script, it's like, I think most people don't realize, like, it with writing, I feel like, and at least I feel like with my friends who are writers, like, just completing it is the biggest thing. Tweaking, getting feedback, like, it doesn't even matter. I feel like if you write something that there's a lot to change, you still have a lot there to work with. You're starting. I always say that, like, when I coach my kids when they're acting, like, sometimes something won't be great, but it's just like a couple of notes to give, and all of a sudden you're like, that's a whole new thing, but you have something to work with. And rather than having a wonderful idea and like holding it so close to you and being afraid to go for it, putting it down to paper and being like, it's okay if this is going to be weird. I need to get it down, and then we'll get in and kind of tinker around with it. Like that's the key. So this is really exciting.
Well, I mean, for me, it's a thing of, you know what, the likelihood of this ever getting picked up and actually used, my first ever script actually getting picked up and used, is slim to none, and I know it. But I don't care, honestly. I'm like, I can't have any worse luck than he had 3 years ago. And this is Andrew Walker that turned in a story. So I'm like, I can't have any worse luck, But
all the things that lead to something, it's like, okay, well, you already have one under your belt. And it's like, people know you're interested in doing this stuff. So then all of a sudden, like, other opportunities come just from putting yourself out there.
Yeah. I was supposed to be, and if it's going to take me this long to write a script, I need to get started on it. I was supposed to be writing one for Darby Hinton that played Jill Wagner's dad in Christmas Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses. When I met him earlier this year, I came up with a story idea, and I just handed him a couple of slips of paper, and he looks at it and he goes, "You got a script?" And I was like, "No, I literally came up with this last night." And he went, "Well, I expect a script." I'm like, "Okay." So I'll be seeing him again sometime next year. And I'm like, "I want to have that." Okay, here you go. I'm taking you literally. You give me an opportunity, I'm running with it.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So yeah.
Never know if you don't try.
This makes me want to start writing again. I just don't ever have time.
I know. Trust me, I get it.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
but definitely this is, and I like that, and I hope like this conversation inspires people to like, if they've been holding on to this idea or this story idea or this script idea or book idea or whatever, they'll kind of get the inspiration. Like, if they can do it, and they can even have Andrew Walker and Jax and so many other people wanting what they're writing, I need to try and do this.
Yeah.
So
when people ask me, like, I've had several people ask me, like, I've self-published a couple of books, and I've had people ask me, like, what's your advice for doing it? And I was like, just do it. Just start it.
Just sit down and do it.
I'm like, there is no magic recipe for success. Everybody's method is different. Like, Jeanette Oak sent me like notes on writing classes that she had done. And so I have those notes, and I have gone over them multiple times. But for me, writing everything down on index cards and whatever, that's not how my brain works. My brain is extremely scattered, and I just go, okay, this sounds good. And I put it together, somehow or another it works. That's what works for me, because that's how my brain works. But somebody else may need literally everything down on, so I'm like, just do it, and you do you. You do how, but just go for it. Like, literally just go for it. You'll never know unless you try. It might take you 20 tries into it to actually get somebody to notice something.
Yeah.
But you'll never get to that 20 unless you do the 19 before it.
Yeah. And a lot of people will give up before they get to the 19th or the 20th. And that's the thing of, like you said, just being persistent.
Yeah. The one other thing that I was going to mention while you're still on here is the fact that you actually have a business as well with your sister, the bundle game. Tell us a little about that. How do I get started on that?
My sister is my best friend, and we're very different. So we never thought we'd get the opportunity to work together, but we both love board games. So 4 years ago, we created Bundle. It's a custom board game company. So we take people's traditions, memories, and inside jokes and their photos, and we make a custom game just for them. But we've also made the one called the Heart Game and a Hallmark game, which has been a lot of fun. And my sister, but when we first started her business, she didn't have any social media, and she hated public speaking. She's like, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. You can do all that stuff. And I said, we're a 2-person company. Like, you're going to have to be the face of the company when you're doing stuff. Now, all of a sudden, Cassie's like hosting a Christmas con. She's doing podcasts. She's creating TikToks.
That's awesome.
it makes me.
You've created a beautiful monster.
I'm gonna tell her that because I said to her, I was like, Cassie, you like, she's genuinely like so good at it. And it's never something that she thought that she would be into. Like, it just wasn't her thing. I think also when you're growing up, you define yourself not only by who you are, but what you're not. And it was like, for me, my sister and my brother were really good at sports. I was like, I'm not good at sports. I was very into acting and all that stuff. And my sister's like, I'm not the one that does that. Like, you sort of like have this thing, like, I'm not the one, which
You
I don't
put yourself in a box that you don't even realize is there.
Yes.
And then someone else can sometimes open that lid, or you can open that lid to that box so you can get out.
I love that. That's exactly right. And I think that she realized like, oh, hey, I am good at all this stuff. And I realized I have the potential to be a star athlete. I'm kidding. I don't.
I'm not athletic in the least, so I feel you.
Not an athletic part of my body.
Yeah, some boxes we can stay in, but otherwise. So I'm really grateful that we get to do it together because I can't imagine not having this relationship with her now. Like, we both live in New York, which is great. So we get to see each other, but we've managed to maintain a really healthy, like, work life friend balance. Like, we don't even have to talk about it, our boundaries, but it's like, I know when she's being my friend and when she's being my sister and when she's being my business partner. Like, I know she's all three of those things, but also like,
You respect each other's boundaries within that.
yeah. And that's hard. I think it's hard. I am not a person who is great with setting boundaries, but my sister is excellent. So like, I think that she's modeled for, even though she's my little sister, she's modeled for me what setting and holding boundaries is. And I'm continually trying to learn that.
We're all
Sometimes you learn quickly. Sometimes some things you don't learn as quickly. So I mean, it takes time.
Yeah. All these lessons that, yeah, you're right. You don't know when in your life you're going to learn them. And it's like, I feel like, you know, whatever people believe, whether it's the universe or God, but I feel like God sends me lessons, sometimes the same lesson over and over until I learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it gets annoying, but he knows better.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get it. You didn't really get it the first time. So
like, Lord, we've been through this. You know, I'm a slow learner. You're just going to have to keep it. I'm sorry.
That's what they say. Never ask the Lord to give you. That's what they say. Never ask the Lord for patience, because he will give you something or someone to try it.
Yeah. He's going to give you tests, not the thing you're actually asking for. He's going to test how much you actually want it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure the Lord has sent me to people to test their patience. So, you know.
Oh, I mean, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Make sure whenever you tell her that you've created a beautiful monster, you put in the beautiful part.
Cassie, Morgan said you're a monster, and Nicole and Kerri agree. No, I'm kidding. No.
Nicole, like, don't do this to me.
Like,
In a loving way.
Like,
In a loving way.
Podcast
Yeah, in a loving way.
In a loving way.
That's like apparently our new slogan on this podcast now is whenever we say something that can kind of be seen as mean, we're like, but in a loving way.
In a loving way.
Salty in a loving way.
Put that on in a loving way.
And
We said
I keep
we're
saying
gonna make
that.
words. Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah. We're like gonna have this whole line of in a loving way. Like
Or like none of your
And that's
business in
kind
a
of like
loving
whenever
way.
you guys kind of do personalized things, we can kind of open it up. Like if you have something specific that you guys want to say in a loving way, just send it to us and we'll make it into a shirt.
yeah. Like we definitely need to do mugs. I was like, I can see like
Yes.
somebody sitting there getting
yeah.
annoyed with their coworker
Just
and like turning their cup around, like leave me alone. In a loving way. Mind your own business. In a loving way.
Because I'm one of these people, I need one that's like, do not talk to me or I will not be able to get any work done in a loving way. Because like if people talk to me while I'm trying to work, it will not happen. I
Yeah.
will have a full-fledged conversation with you about anything in order to get out.
Or what did I get myself into in a loving way?
Yeah. That's Nicole's.
That's
Since we made her a
Co-host.
official host, that has been hers. Is what did I get myself into
In a loving
way? And he tells her, "You're stuck with us now in a loving way."
Guys, I fully support all this merch.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad we got to do this. I hate that I have to go teach. I wish I didn't have to go. I would just like hang out all day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime,
fun.
if we're on live, or if you want,
Yeah.
even if you want to do a live and we're not actually on doing
love
live,
to.
just text us and
I
say,
would love
hey,
to.
you guys want to go live together? And just
Can we
like,
get on
yeah,
chat?
Yeah,
On a group
absolutely.
text? Okay, I'll send you my number
Yeah.
so you guys have it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And I know if you guys are ever open to it, I know my sister would love to come and talk about the game and
Yeah.
stuff. The fans. So
Oh,
anytime.
absolutely. We've even had like a game night where we wanted to do like either the Win Calls the Heart game or the Hallmark
Yeah.
game, because Kerri
That
came
would
up
be
with that. 'Cause,
great.
like Kerri was like, why don't we get
I
Jess
have
on?
it
She
too.
literally has a game, and
I
Nicole
have it
has the
too.
game.
Oh, that's
So
great. We
it's
should
like-
definitely do that. We love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll be putting together a Christmas game night. I don't know if y'all will be available for that or not. I'll let you know when it is, and we'll see if that'll work out. If not, we'll work something else out. But literally, like if you ever want to go live, or if you ever want to come on and talk about something, promote something, whatever, if you just
Yeah.
want to do a girl chat, just text us
I
and
love
go,
girl chat.
hey, when
Yeah.
can I come on?
Yeah.
Like, you guys want to go live right now? Are y'all available? We'll be like, yes.
I love that. We got to figure out a way to get more people on lives.
Thank
We do.
you.
It's
Thank
been
you.
so, like, I look back on all of our old lives whenever before we even started really doing the podcast and really getting the podcast off the ground, we were like literally getting like 40 people at least on our lives. And
Now we
now
do
it's
good to
like we
keep
have a
4.
steady 4.
Yeah.
You know what? I've noticed this too with like, you think about I noticed this the other day. I hopped on, I wasn't on it, but I just hopped on to one of Paul Green's lives. He's, 180,000 Instagram followers. He had 30 people on the live. There's something going on. Like, no, I've noticed this with huge accounts. So I don't know what it is. But I feel like I want to get to the bottom of it because I've noticed it. There was another person too. I forget who it was. It was someone I follow. It was like maybe even a clothing company, like not something I'm particularly invested in, but huge accounts got in their live, and there were like, I think it was like 10 people, and they have huge following. So I don't know what it is, but maybe even if we like promote it before, I don't know.
I wonder if it's like
Wild West now.
I kind of
wonder if
wonder if it's like the algorithm of Instagram, because you know how the
Yeah.
algorithm will really mess up how you get, and plus like now everyone's really big on reels. So that's why we tend to save our lives a lot, is because that really gets people noticing, because like for some reason right now, Instagram is all about the reels, which is fine, but it's really taking a big hit on everything else that Instagram provides. Because like you can make a reel and put it on YouTube, on Snapchat, on Facebook, on all of these different things, like all of these, all kinds of, on TikTok. I mean, all of these other social media things also do this. So like, I don't know.
It's a weird thing. And the thing is, I think the good consolation for all of us is that it's not any of us that are doing anything. Something's happening, and it's happening to everyone.
Something out of our control is happening. Yeah. Because like whenever Andrew and Dara, his dear Hallmark came on, like I popped on, and all of a sudden, like all the numbers were like 400 people were like watching as soon as they popped on. And I'm like, wow, that's like the most we've ever had.
I wonder if it's also like spam or bot accounts too, because I've been getting like a lot of spam accounts that are like requested to follow my personal, and I'm just like, or like fake impersonations. Like I got one the other day. It was like a fake Daniel Lissing and a fake Benjamin Ayers, and I'm like, no.
Right.
I love
it could be that too.
What?
That could, I just was telling Nicole, like that could be it too, because like there is a lot of people who just make fake accounts or even clones a person's account. Like that's been happening a lot on Facebook.
I get a lot of fake Paul Green accounts request to follow me.
I'm
I'm just like
Paul Green. Or someone being like, I'm Paul Green's social media manager. I'm like, no, that's Ruth Hill, and I know her.
I love it. Well, Jax, thank you so
Yes,
much for
thank you
coming
so
on.
much.
Like I said, literally anytime, if you want to come on, just holler at us and we'll make it happen. But in a loving way. If you're
In a
gonna
loving way.
holler in a loving way.
Your script, and please let's get a group text going. And Nicole, then you can send me your ideas because I want to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Thank you guys
Absolutely.
so much.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Love
guys.
you.